Hey, Pete. Um, well, thank you for dropping details for us in regards to what's currently happening between you and Ant. First off, I just need to get this off my chest. Whenever you're rolling your cigs and that rolling paper is on your lips, it drives me insane. I don't know why. It just drives me insane in a bad way. It's like I just want to reach out and snatch it off your lips. That's has to go back to my high school days where I had a professor that always chewed his gum when he was talking to us. He always had it on the corner of his lip. It actually flew in a student's face once, so I hope that makes you laugh. Um, Look, I'm not a counselor, but I can offer you my opinion on the subject matter from the perspective of a man who was married for almost 8 years to a woman that I helped immigrate from Mexico to Canada after I proposed to her and told her I wanted her to be my wife. Um, we didn't date. It's kind of a weird relationship thing. I'll try to give it to you in a nutshell so I give you some perspective here. I met her during Christmas while she was sharing an exchange program here in Moncton, not Moncton, New Brunswick, but Notre Dame de l'Aude or Edmundston with the community college. And one thing led to another. We started talking. I felt her. I felt a very definite magnetic pull towards her and her towards me. And it was like that in regards to lust and love. She wasn't interested in a long distance relationship, and we discussed it. She wanted me to commit to it if I was really interested, that she did not want me to play her heart as a game, and I didn't. I felt bad about losing her when she was flying back home in March, and then I made the commitment of actually trying to surprise her on her birthday to um, actually bring her back to Canada so we could get married with civil court. We had a public ceremony over at Chateau Apap. Chateau Apap is now burned down, or at least it's closed because they had a fire recently. I had nothing to do with it. The unfortunate downside to everything is that I didn't date her. I didn't get a chance to know her foibles, her good and bad. She didn't get a chance to know my foibles or my good and bad. We were hashing it out during our relationship, and my parents and her parents were a little bit leery on everything. But we all both assured them that everything would be okay. But then I discovered the sudden nasty side that she had and my nasty side that I could have. Um, Somewhere in the first year, things started going sour. After 9 months of her being unemployed because of immigration laws here in Canada and her permit then being enacted after that, she wasn't happy. There was a lot of things in regards to the weather that were relevant to it, and um, I started losing interest in more ways than I could ever count. I'm not somebody who searches for a fight. I will defend myself when pushed or cornered. I do not stand in the face of somebody being a bully or being threatening in any way, shape, or form. If I can avoid having any fight whatsoever, I will deter it completely. Unfortunately, it became to a point in the last 3 years of our relationship that we would almost fight constantly. To give you a perspective, after going through counseling with a reality therapist to find out what the F is wrong with me, am I sane? Am I insane? Am I supposed to be doing this or not? It didn't help. I thought things were going well. We started discovering that, well, if we go through our own little technique of hugging, saying, I don't want to fight, you're hurting me, baby, etc., that would work. It didn't work. At least it didn't work long enough. And I'd end up bottling my emotions, and I started eating my emotions, gaining weight because of it. Unhealthily so. She would be affected by it negatively too. So the last 6 months of last year, before July, we came to a sudden stop where she no longer wanted to live with me because she really didn't want me in her life, and I didn't know what to do. So we had a discussion. We came to an agreement of sorts that if she wanted to leave, like I've been telling her ever since we've been married, I'm not your ball and chain. We are married, but if you want to go back to your old life, I'll help you as much as I can. She wanted to move back to Mexico, and it went to the point that we wanted to possibly live together and start our lives again there. And I didn't make her any promises. Things went from one way to the other. She packed up her bags, threw away anything that she didn't want her to keep, and gave away to charities. And then we moved on from there. I helped her fly back to Mexico, stayed a week, came back. And then things spun out of control, and I just said, look, I'm not ready for this type of commitment, and if you don't stop pushing me in my back, I will tell you I'm staying in Canada. And if that's where it stopped. I've been seeing a reality therapist, and I'm happy to say that I'm better. I'm back to my old self. And I've discovered that if I take a wall, any size wall, and paint black and white squares on it, white being the best moments or good moments, black being the worst or bad moments, that I have a good 95% of that wall that's covered in black. Now, I don't know how bad it is between you and Aunt in regards to you driving yourselves nuts. It's in a relationship. It is, unfortunately, a huge amount of it is for tolerance. Meeting in the middle, it's a lose-lose situation when you actually try to meet in the middle, because you still don't get what you really want, and she still doesn't get what she really wants. As much as you accept that, sometimes there's often times that it's unacceptable, and it does lead to conflict, friction. My question that I have to ask you is the following, and you can be honest, and if you want to discuss it with me by private message, you can, Pete. If you want to Skype or anything else, you're more than welcome. I know you're a busy man, but do you like the person that you're now in this relationship? Do you really like who you are in this relationship? And this isn't a question that you have to ask yourself. Don't think too long on it. And if the answer comes out no or maybe, it's a no. That means that the relationship is possibly not meant to be, at least not living together in the conditions that you're now living. It's unfortunately something that's very common in marriages or dating scenarios or commune life with loved ones. Everything will become an issue. It was to the point that I was fighting with my wife because she didn't want me to make crumbs from making toast in the morning. I lost interest in cooking, and I've gained that interest back. My parents, for God's sakes, now recognize me as their son again compared to what I was when I was actually married. I changed for the worse, not the better, and I wanted to avoid putting her back into that situation. And after a few months, we started discussing again, and she still wants to come back. She still wants to be in my life, and I told her, no, I'm sorry, I love you, but I can't live with you. I can't. Maybe you need some separation for the time being, just to give yourselves a breath of fresh air, but I would seriously recommend you seeking out a reality therapist. They're well-trained individuals with the William Glasser Institute, and they help. They're not there to brainwash you. They're there to have you asking or questioning your own self, asking serious questions about what you want. And it's not a matter of selfishness, but in a relationship, you're independent, she's supposed to be independent. You're supposed to be able to continue your lives as they were prior to you becoming one unit without affecting each other negatively. I hope this helps. Have a nice one, Pete.